It comes down to this. It comes down to this. The Chiefs versus the Bills. Winner faces the Commanders or the Eagles in Super Bowl Sunday, 1 week from Sunday. Thomas joins me. Hello, Bills Mafia. Happy game day. It's Championship Sunday. Let's start before they kick off. 2 hours away from kickoff. It starts right now. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports. From the fans' perspective, here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Hello, friends, and welcome to Before They Kick Off on Sports for Beginners. Bills, Chiefs. We saw these teams last matchup a couple of weeks ago at week 11, before the Bills hit the bye week. They've since then finished the season 13-4. But meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, who saw a 15-0 season, a 15 winning streak and 0 come to an end in week 11, finished the season 15-2. Will Kansas City get its revenge and also dash Buffalo's hopes? We'll know by the time we get to Bills postgame. I am Scott McGregor. Thomas will be joining me shortly on our edition of Before They Kick Off. We'll talk to him about things we like in the Ravens win in the Bills win, I should say, over the Baltimore Ravens. And that, once again, for everyone who is wondering, was 27-25. We also had Thomas on to break down that game on the pregame show side of things. Wrapped it up on a voice memo note with Coach's final thoughts. We have Coach's final thoughts pre-recorded here before we came onto the program, so we will hear those with Thomas in the studio as we proceed to wrap up. We're now 1 hour and 45 minutes away from kickoff. 6:30 p.m. Eastern is the game time. So I guess let's talk coaches and quarterbacks. And from my perspective, what I like in Kansas City's win to get them to this point, I'll get to my Bills thoughts when Thomas joins us, but that's still to come. Also still to come, we're following the game in the NFC between the Commanders and the Eagles. I will touch on that score as we speak when I'm done with my thoughts on the game from divisional weekend when the Kansas City Chiefs battled the Houston Texans and old friend Stefon Diggs. Oh, look who it is. It's Thomas. He's coming to join us. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and stick to getting to know our head coaches and our quarterbacks. Well, we all know who they are, right? Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. And of course, on the quarterback side, we know who it is. Our boy, number 17, Josh Allen versus Kansas City's boy, Patrick Mahomes. And don't forget Travis Kelce and company. Welcome to the program, Thomas. How are you doing today? Happy Championship Sunday.
Happy Championship Sunday to all of you listening to the program. I just wanted to make a programming note for all of you tuning into this program before you tune into Bill's postgame. We're finishing off Dolphins season content here on Sports for Beginners, and we are getting ready for Championship Sunday postgame show. We're just about ready to wrap up that program on Dolphins football. So I hope Dolphins Nation, if you're tuning into the remaining Dolphin football content right now on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, and you're coming into Bills football with the Chiefs and the Bills for the pregame show, I certainly hope you're enjoying us preparing you for the games. We love doing it. We love preparing you for the games. And even the one that my brother and I love, creating this reaction for the postseason this far. If that person is listening, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but if you are listening, mister, I'm hoping that you're enjoying your championship Sunday, even though the Dolphins are not near championship Sunday, nor are they near divisional Sunday, nor are they near Super Bowl 59, and nor are they near Wild Card Sunday or Saturday. It sucks, I know, but if you're hearing me say that right now, I certainly hope your Sunday is going a much, much better. And with that, I hope everybody who is a football fan in general can tune into all of these football shows, and I'll send it back to our host.
Yes, indeed. All right. So with that being said, I have we've gone over our coaches, we've gone over the quarterbacks. We really didn't need to, because we know who it is. We know who it is, right? We know who it is. We know who it is. Sean McDermott and Steve Tasker spoke before the game on the latest edition of the Sean McDermott Show. We'll play the audio from the Final Thoughts edition later in the program. But first, Thomas, it's Championship Sunday. So when we go back to divisional, when we go back to the divisional weekend, let's start with Kansas City and Houston. What were some of the things you take away from? Let's start with at least two things for both of these teams from their divisional matchup. But what were two things that you took away from Kansas City's 23-14 win over the Houston Texans?
Well, for one, I took away, and the referees that are listening to this that are probably retired now, I hope I'm not offending you in any way, shape, or form. You guys are just doing your jobs. One of the things I took away from that game was the fact that the Houston Texans were claiming they were against the referees. And the referees, well, they were on the Kansas City Chiefs side. Now, I don't care who the referees are on the side of, whether they're on the Buffalo Bills side against the Chiefs. I don't care if they're on the Buffalo Bills side or if they're on the Kansas City Chiefs side. What I care about is to watch a great game of football. So when I heard that the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs would be a game away from facing each other, I look back at the Kansas City Chiefs and Houston Texans game and say, good effort, Houston Texans, but you can't win if you're with a former Buffalo Bill player in Stephon Diggs. who has seen the sidelines every Kansas City Chiefs victory the Buffalo Bills has lost. And that is not a false fact. It is a true fact.
It is indeed a true fact. It is indeed a true fact because first of all, it is indeed a true fact because first of all, before Stephon Diggs became a Houston Texan, he was with the Buffalo Bills at the last time these two teams met on Championship Sunday. He was back there with Buffalo and Josh. He knew what was coming. And, and there's evidence of him on the sideline just watching the confetti. So we will see who gets confetti. We will see who gets confetti at the end of today's game. But with that being said, let's throw it over to Buffalo. Let's throw it over to Buffalo's side of the field. And what were some of the things you could take away from Buffalo's 27-25 win over the Baltimore Ravens? What were some of the things you could take away from that? Reminder, the winners of today's game, Eagles, Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, will face off 1 week from Sunday. They will face off 1 week from Sunday on Super Bowl Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern in the town of New Orleans. It's either going to be Eagles, Bills, or Eagles, Chiefs, or Commanders, Bills, or Commanders, Chiefs. We will see. What's your take, Thomas, on Bills 27-25 victory over the Ravens?
Well, for one, I kind of thought this game was going to be a smackdown with the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. And you mentioned that I talked about in the pregame show when we talked about the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. You mentioned when I talked about in the pregame show about Derrick Henry, keeping Derrick Henry to less yardage. Now, that seemed like a bit of a challenge in this game. And yes, I kind of expected that. But one thing I did not expect is that when the Baltimore Ravens had a shot to send this game into overtime exactly how I thought it was going to go, which it didn't go that way. And Bills Mafia, you should be really, really excited about that. That it was Mark Andrews who cemented the either game season ender for the Buffalo Bills or game season ender for his own team, the Baltimore Ravens. You should feel really, really happy that that play is what it came down to make you go all the way up to Kansas City for what a lot of people, including myself, are calling game 7 between the teams you see in the background of of our host of the program, the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. What else did I take away from this game? Well, I mean, I talked about Henry, but you gotta look at the quarterbacks in a matchup like the Chiefs. You gotta look at the quarterbacks in a matchup against the Chiefs. Now, I'm gonna base this off of in terms of takeaways. I'm gonna base this off of who had the better quarterback yards instead of who was the better team. And I think that Lamar Jackson had the better yards, but the interception scrapped the better yardage for him, meaning he was doing really, really well in terms of passing and gaining yards in terms of the ground game or even throwing and passing yards. But the interception scrapped all those yards, put it in a barrel, and said, wait till next year. You're not ready. Which Lamar Jackson's reply to that after the game, I'm sick of that. He cursed, but I'm not going to put the curse words out here because we are a family friendly show and I want to be as unbiased as I possibly can. But I kind of agree with Lamar Jackson. I'm tired of people assuming that the refs are the ones that bring the team they think are going to be able to go as far as they can go. I am sick and tired of that. So Lamar does make a lot of good points. I heard Kevin Ostraker after the game on Locked on Ravens. Shout out to Kevin. I heard him say that this is probably a game that the Baltimore Ravens deserved. But you could make the argument, Kevin, on Locked on Ravens and any of the Ravens broadcasts. You could make the argument that the Ravens deserved it. They deserved this game. They deserved to get beat by the Bills. They deserved to win against the Bills. What they didn't deserve was the last play of that ball game where the Ravens decided we are really, really close. All we have to do is try to make this conversion and try to get it to Mark Andrews. Try to get it to Mark Andrews. We try to get it to Mark Andrews. We tied this ball game, and Buffalo's thinking, uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. We are not in Championship Sunday, which they are, in fact, in Championship Sunday, thanks to Mark Andrews' play. But the fact of the matter is, the Baltimore Ravens did a play that is a game play in the video game that a lot of broadcasters will say to you in the video game, you if you want to be a hero, you got to make sure you succeed in being a hero. Otherwise, don't try and be a hero, but then end up like a complete, and this is a disrespected word, so I'm not going to say it, but look like a complete person who does not know what they are doing. Because you could either be a hero or you could be the word that I will not use, but I will probably say off of the air for this show. So you could either be that person or you could be a complete person that doesn't know how to play the game. Lamar knows how to play the game. All right. Lamar knows how to play the game. Allen knows how to play the game. Mahomes, he knows how to play the game. Daniels is a rookie. And he was able to beat the Detroit Lions. So, really, what does this game come down to? This game, to me, comes down to do you want Daniels or do you want Barkley? And if you're the Bills and the Chiefs, I think you're asking yourself that question as we kick down into the final hours of Chiefs and Bills preparations.
Yes, and speaking of that, we are coming into that point of time. So that's our thoughts from Thomas on the Chiefs' 23-14 win over the Houston Texans. And he also had some thoughts on the Bills win 27-25 over the Ravens. For me, I agree with everything he said. And you know what? I too am getting tired of hearing the Kansas City Chiefs, or in this case, the Buffalo Bills, are getting the calls from the referee. Listen, I'm not going to disrespect nobody here, and I'm not going to name names, but the referees are there for a reason. They're there for a reason. Yes, bad calls are going to happen. Yes, some calls are going to go the other team's way. But the reality of it is, you got to take what you can get from this game. And that's why I've said it even on the post game show. If I get a chance to bring up keys to the game, which we're going to get to on the pregame show in the next segment, we'll give keys to the game for the Chiefs from Thomas's side. And for me, for Bills Mafia, I'll give you keys to the game for Buffalo. That'll take us right up to Sean McDermott and Steve Tasker. And then we should be seeing our inactives. That'll take us to the end of the program. But with that being said, I'm just going to say this. Who cares who's referee or what whose side the referees are on? Who cares what side the referees are going to be on? I don't care. I honestly don't care. But like Thomas said, I would love to see a great football game. I don't really care who the referees are on when it comes to picking sides. I'm not a guy that likes to pick sides. So, with that being said, Thomas, why don't you take us to our first break?
Well, yeah. So yeah, like I said, guys, I I agree with Lamar. I agree. I agree with Lamar. He is saying that he's tired of being kicked out of the postseason, and it's because of the ref. Well, obviously, it's because of the ref. But you have to make note that the refs are there to do a job, and they are there to get paid. They're not there to be your friend, apparently. As much as you want them to be, they're not there to be your friend. What they are there for is what you are there for. The fans come, they see what you do, they see what you play, and they see how it goes. Ultimately, it's up to the players to decide how they want to play the game. Keys to victory coming up as we are getting closer and closer to 6:30, which is, of course, the end of our pregame show timeline. And I am sure, hoping that a lot of us are ready for it. And while we take our first break, I'll leave you with this, AFC Championship watchers of tonight's football game. I will leave you with this. All right? I will leave you with this to go into our first break. AFC Championship watchers, if you aren't paying any attention to the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles game, you might want to pay attention right now because they could be the beginning of a championship run for you or a championship run for them and a championship run short for you. The Commanders currently are losing 15-27. So if you want to face Saquon Barkley, I know you guys you have business to take care of with each other against the Bills and the Chiefs, but you should really start planning as a fan. You should really start planning a game plan for your win and you become Super Bowl champions, lose and you become cut short. You should really start thinking about the NFC Championship opponent you may be facing by the time your game is up and you are deemed the AFC Championship winner of the 2024-2025 season. With that, we'll be right back with more from Before They Kick Off.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Welcome back to Before They Kick Off. Bills versus Chiefs. Those are the two teams behind me as we are doing this in video format. We've got Thomas, host of Dolphins Postgame, on the program here with us, and on the ice and behind the benches, among other things. We're getting you ready for Bills versus Chiefs. Round 2. More like Game 7, as Thomas mentioned. It's time now for the keys to the game as we continuously await our inactives, which are coming up, and we'll get to those following coaches' final thoughts. That's the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott, and Steve Tasker, Hall of Famer Steve Tasker, who spoke on the Sean McDermott Show, available on Buffalo Bills YouTube, and of course, wherever in Western New York you can find it, but definitely on Buffalo Bills YouTube. We'll get to that in a matter of moments as we still wait for the inactives for this game. So Thomas, we're on to Championship Sunday, and you mentioned before the break, even if we didn't get to the point of stay with us as you took us out of our first segment, you mentioned that it's 27-15 Eagles over the Commanders. Why do you think, despite the business the Chiefs and the Bills have to take care of tonight, they they should uh, they should start planning for the Super Bowl? Because first of all, I understand that we are 1 week away from that. Because after next Sunday, which is the Pro Bowl, I believe, we're going into the two remaining teams looking to contend for the Super Bowl. So just elaborate a little bit on what you mean by start planning for the Super Bowl, start going to a game plan for the Super Bowl. Should you end up winning tonight's game?
All right, everybody, look. You want me to elaborate? Look, you guys are AFC champions for a reason. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills are AFC East number 1 seed and AFC East number 2 seed, right? You following me, everybody? I sure hope so. Because throughout the Dolphin postgame shows, I have been talking about your tiebreaker. And I've heard on some of your victory speeches from Sean McDermott, it's not our Super Bowl. Now, I'm not trying to get Sean McDermott in trouble or bust your move or whatever, because it is a game day. But I said that AFC Championship teams might want to consider paying attention on the NFC Conference Championship game. I said that they might want to consider paying attention to the NFC Championship game and make a game plan for the Super Bowl, because if you don't have a game plan for the AFC Championship game and things don't go your way, that's fine. But if you have a game plan that you might also feel works in the Super Bowl, it could be the ultimate denominator, in my opinion, that will tell us if you are indeed championship bound. Jim Nantz, you'll be hearing from him on CBS Sports a little later when it's nearly time to kick off with the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills for his game preview. But if you checked out the video early for even tuning into CBS, which I'm sure a lot of us will be tuning into it, if you checked out the video earlier prior to CBS's coverage of this game, one thing that stuck out to me to why I brought up the point of paying attention to the NFC Championship game is the fact that a king has been born, but a kingdom with a king can fall. Now, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm addressing you at this point because your kingdom is high and mighty right now. You are just a game away from doing what no team in the NFL history book has done, but you stand in the way of a team who is looking for their first, and I mean first, Super Bowl champion. Oh, Bills Mafia, you've dreamed about it many, many times, but every season after season after season, even when you made it to the Super Bowl for the 4 straight times, dating back to the 1990s, you plunked. You made it to Super Bowl 4 times, and you plunked. Was that because of the NFC Championship game? Probably. Was that because of your performance in the AFC Championship game leading to that NFC Championship opponent? Maybe. But if you really want any chance at hoisting the Lombardi trophy, having a game plan against the AFC Championship opponent you face tonight is great and all, but having an even greater game plan for Super Bowl championship bound a week from Sunday, is even greater, because your game plan for the Super Bowl a week from Sunday could be the denominator that tells you we are Super Bowl champions. Or it could be the common denominator that said you had it and you lost it. It was right there, right at your fingertips, you could almost hold it in your hands as if you imagined it was coming into your hands, and then your fingers slipped and the championship was won by somebody other than you. The one thing the Bills do not want to do that the Chiefs want the Bills to do is plunk again. Give the Chiefs the chance to have the Bills sitting on the sidelines yet again and watching the Kansas City Chiefs colors pop out, telling the Kansas City Chiefs that they are on their way to their third straight Super Bowl championship win. In the way of the Kansas City Chiefs, who are the champions, forget Buffalo. If they want to become 3-time Super Bowl champions, winning back to back to back to back Super Bowl champions, and become the only team to run it back 3 times successfully in NFL history, they have to have a game plan against either the Commanders or the Eagles. If they can get through the Bills and defeat the Bills once and for all in the Game 7 match that everybody wants, including the NFL, don't deny it, NFL fans. You wanted this match, and the NFL fan bases said, why? Why are we taking this game into a 7th game? Because the NFL couldn't decide who was number 1 and who was number 2 in the regular season. That's why. You wanted it, NFL, you got it. Now you have to decide who the true AFC championship is. Is that the Chiefs? Is that the Bills? Time will tell. But one thing I want the Bills and the Chiefs fan base to know is that whoever wins this must have a game plan for Super Bowl 59 a week from Sunday. And I know that's and I know that might be asking a lot, fans of the fan bases we're talking about getting you ready for. But hear me out. If you have a game plan for Super Bowl 59 a week from Sunday after beating the team that stands in your way, as long as everything goes your way, you are by no means anyone's problem but yourself. And you should be proud that if it does go your way and falls into your hands, you should be by no means proud of yourselves and proud of the team you created to get you as far as you got. It's going to be even more sweeter for the Buffalo Bills if this becomes their first ever Super Bowl championship, and you hear the words, for the first time in franchise history, the Buffalo Bills are your 2024-2025 Super Bowl champions. Until you hear that, Bills Mafia, you're not going to be happy with the Buffalo Bills if they, again, flunk against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. You don't want that happening. The Kansas City Chiefs, they want to be hearing your 2024-2025 AFC Championship team is the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't want to be hearing that the Bills are on their way to the Super Bowl. That's what you, Bills Mafia, want to hear. But you also want to hear, by the time the NFC Championship team comes around, that you are the 2024-2025 Super Bowl champions. Is this the year? I don't know, but I like your chances. I hope that answers the question. And I think that'll take us to a break. So, Scott, why don't we come back with the keys to victory and finish things off with Steve Tasker and Sean McDermott? I feel like the inactives are coming up.
Great idea. Great idea. All right, Bills Mafia, third and final segment coming up. Thomas and I give the keys to victory for the Chiefs to beat the Bills from Thomas's side. And for your side, I will give you my keys to the game for a Bills victory. After today, two teams will remain in a shot to take home that Lombardi trophy. Bills Mafia, we want it so badly we can taste it. But we got to get by the defending thorn in our side and defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs tonight to do it. We also got to get by whoever comes out of that NFC championship game. But one game at a time. Keys to the game, inactives, and Sean McDermott and Steve Tasker, when before they kick off, continues and comes your way to wrapping up. We are 1 hour, 7 minutes away from kickoff as we speak. And we'll wrap it up with Sean McDermott, Steve Tasker from the Sean McDermott Show, our keys to the game, and the inactives. It's all next when we return in a matter of moments. Can you feel kickoff coming? Grab your popcorn, grab a drink, grab your gear, and hold on tight. This is going to be one of the best matches you will ever see, regardless who the referee is on. And just to reiterate, I don't care who the referee's side is going to be on. I just want a really good game. Back in a moment. Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here we go. It's time to get down to the keys to the game The keys to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Buffalo Bills are coming from Thomas's side. Coming from my side, the Bills keys to victory. What the Buffalo Bills need to do to beat the Chiefs tonight. We are 59 minutes away. We're an hour away from kickoff to the exact and counting. Before we know it, Josh will be in the tunnel getting us ready to go for the game. And as we await Thomas to return here, let's talk about our inactives for this one. The inactives in this game, first off, we've got quarterback Mike White, the emergency third quarterback, out for this game. One of the 7 men out for this game for the Bills and the Chiefs. Cornerback Brandon Codrington is also out for this one against the Chiefs, as well as Quinton Jefferson, Ryan Van Demark, Dwayne Carter, Taylor Rapp, safety Taylor Rapp is out for this one. And offensive lineman besides Ryan Van Demark is Cedric Van Granger. Cedric Van Granger. I'll go with SVPG. Sorry about that if I pronounce the name wrong. If I pronounce the name wrong, I apologize for that. But those are the 7 men, including Mike White, Brandon Codrington, Quinton Jefferson, Dwayne Carter, Taylor Rapp, and of course, Ryan Van Demark. We have SVPG also out for the Bills in this one. For the Chiefs, as we get ready for Thomas to bring us the keys to the game for the Chiefs, out for the Chiefs in this one, they will be without cornerback Keith Taylor, defensive end Joshua Yu, yes, and I don't mean the word you, I mean Joshua Yu. So sorry about that, Joshua, if I pronounce your last name wrong. Joshua Yuch. If I pronounce it wrong, I apologize. But I gave it my best shot. We'll see. They're also without offensive linemen C.J. Hansen and Wanya Morris. Offensive tackle Ethan Driscoll is out as well. Ethan, if I pronounce your last name wrong, I apologize. J.R. Justine Ross, wide receiver, is out. And they're also without defensive end Malik Hearing. If I pronounce the name wrong, Malik, I apologize. So those are your inactives for Bills versus Chiefs. For the Bills, Mike White, Brandon Codrington, Quinton Jefferson, Ryan Van Demark, Dwayne Carter, Taylor Rapp, and CVPG out for this one against the Chiefs. And out for the Chiefs, no Keith Taylor, no Joshua Yu, no CJ Hansen, no Wanya Morris, no Ethan D, no JR, no Malik 8. With that being said, Thomas, let us know. What do the Chiefs need to do to beat Buffalo and advance to Super Bowl 59 for a shot at history and uncharted territory.
I mean, what don't you need to know, Kansas City Chiefs fans? What don't you need to know? All you need to think about is that this may or may not be a walk in the park. Keys to a victory time. And you know what that means? With the keys to victory? That means it's kickoff time, which means we're just 60 minutes away from kickoff. According to the Buffalo Bills, as I follow the CBS Sports app, we're just 60 minutes away from kickoff. Y'all know what the inactives are? Here are the keys to victory. So the Chiefs, you've been in this situation before with Buffalo, and you beat them. The Buffalo Bills have been in this situation before, and they beat you in a divisional round. But ultimately, you have been the dominant force. Well, maybe that's what people were thinking at the beginning of the season. But now it's post. And remember, you suffered a 15-game winning streak coming to a dead halt at the hands of the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia. And make no mistake about it, you gave it your all, but ultimately, it was the Chiefs who faltered and Bills who excelled. Now, with the regular season out of the way, here's what you need to know in order for a Chiefs win. You got to start with everybody's most hated topic. The referees are the first key to victory. And why do I say referees? Well, we've talked about them a lot on this pregame show. And here's what I want you to understand. I'm not saying the referees are going to be the enemy, but I am saying that if you want any chance of beating the Buffalo Bills, don't take unnecessary penalties. Don't take penalties that will make everybody say by the end of the ball game what the referees don't want to hear, which is, why didn't you call that? Why didn't you call this? Why didn't you call that? Oh, you don't deserve to be here. Why are you an official? Take off that referee uniform and get the hell out of here. I'll be precise there. I'm saying those words because that's what fans have been saying all postseason long. And at this point, I don't really care what the referees do at this point. But if you want to be able to beat the Bills, don't take any necessary penalties that aren't necessary to take. Whether that's roughing the passer, a penalty that everybody hates, pass interference. Or how about the illegal man downfield? How about what's another one? Intentional grounding. These unnecessary penalties are ones you should avoid. And second thing you need to know when you get the key to victory. Remember, Chiefs Nation, I've said it many times already on this pregame show, and I'm going to say it for the keys to victory. The second key to victory is keep Allen in check. This one goes to the defense. And why does it go to the defense of the Chiefs? Well, it goes to the defense of the Chiefs because all game long in the regular season, you thought you had the Bills outnumbered. And you did, but you forgot that both your quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, Goliath versus Goliath, as Jim Nantz said in the video that I encourage you to check out if you haven't already checked it out, can use the ball from a passing perspective to a running perspective. If you want any chance of winning this game, try to give the quarterback, Josh Allen, no room to run, no room to throw, and no room whatsoever to make big plays that have everybody saying, "Oh my goodness, touchdown, Buffalo!" And the third one. This one's important. So listen up. This one's on the offense. When you get on the board, stay on the board and don't let your opposing team get the better of you. Don't let the opposing team get the better of you. Bills Mafia, we're getting into the Bills' keys to victory. But you know as well as anybody in the NFL that the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, I'll even bring the Miami Dolphins into this case, even though the Dolphins are eliminated, they are no stranger to being a part of getting on the board first and staying ahead. So, offense, here's what you need to do to beat the Bills. You need to tire the Buffalo Bills defense out. And you do that by running the football. Give your quarterback time and room to make impressive catches, impressive receptions, make big plays for your quarterback, but don't make a penalty out of it. And don't make the defense get the right idea, or in your case, the wrong idea, and take your quarterback's throw for a reception into an interception all the way into your end zone for their touchdown instead of you getting a touchdown. There's a phrase in football, hit or be hit. You can be a hitter that can hit people, or you could be the guy that gets hit and gets injured. We saw it with Damar Hamlin. I will not get into it, but we saw what Damar Hamlin had. And I know there's Swifties here listening into the program, I'm sure. So, Taylor Swift fans, this is a football game, but it ain't a game about Travis, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or even Taylor herself. No, this is a game where you cheer for either the Chiefs or the Bills. And with that, it's time to hear what it takes to take a Bill victory from the Chiefs and get one step closer to taking Super Bowl 59 finally in championship glory.
And with 45 minutes before we get to kickoff, that brings me to it. But you know what? Before we hear my take on the keys to victory, let's go ahead and hear what Sean McDermott had to say after the ball game, or I should say before the ball game, ahead of facing the Chiefs. It's time for us to go to the Sean McDermott show and hear Coach's final thoughts on facing the Chiefs. Here's Steve Tasker and Sean McDermott on Coach's final thoughts facing the Chiefs and what it will take to win this game. Enjoy.
Coach, at the Chiefs, 6:30 p.m. Sunday night, same time you played this last week. You played Kansas City week 11 at home. You won 30-21. Lots changed since then, just kind of like with the Baltimore game. So many the teams have evolved and continue to evolve. They beat the Texans 23-14 in their divisional round playoff. How does this year's Chiefs team compare to those you faced in the past?
Just as good, just as talented, just as well coached, and they're going for a three-peat, right?
Yeah.
Which is uncharted territory in the NFL, around the NFL, and we're going to go in there and face a heck of a challenge at their place, the defending Super Bowl champs.
Pat Mahomes won 8 straight playoff games in the NFL. It's a big number. Travis Kelce had a down regular season, but man, in the postseason, they've turned it on and turned it up a notch. He was clutch in the fourth quarter for them. His 9th career playoff 100-yard receiving game. What makes these two guys so special?
Well, I believe they're not only talented, but the rapport that those two have together. When the game's on the line, that's where the ball's going to go, and rightfully so. They have a lot of trust in one another.
So the Chiefs' defense had 8 sacks and a blocked field goal in this division round of the playoffs. They're the 9th team since the 70 merger to have 8+ sacks in a playoff game. Karlaftis had a career-high 3 against Houston. What do you have to do to neutralize those guys up front? Certainly Karlaftis is a factor, and of course Chris Jones.
Yeah, I mean, we see if we can get an extra lineman or two up front, play with 12,
guys,
13,
right?
15 guys.
Right.
No, they're so talented.
Yeah.
And Jones, Karlaftis, then the supporting cats they have around them. They mix in a ton of pressures to confuse you on offense and confuse your protection, confuse your quarterback, affect it. So it's a big challenge for us.
All right, Coach, good luck this week in Kansas City against the Chiefs. AFC Championship, congratulations.
That's Sean McDermott and Steve Tasker. And this just in, the Eagles have gone ahead 41-23. Can they hang on to advance to Super Bowl 59 to either play the Chiefs or the Bills? The Eagles are playing pretty well. It's 41-23. The Commanders are going to need to pull off a miracle to try to upset the Eagles in the final fourth quarter minute of this game. Final moments of that game going down, which means the final moments of this pregame show are here. So just going off of what Sean McDermott said on the Sean McDermott show, I feel like he was saying everything that I was going to say, but again, to Thomas's point, for the Chiefs, this is the same thing for the Bills. Do not let penalties, unnecessary penalties, control the favor of the game. My second key to victory, besides the unnecessary penalties, which is my first key, second key to the game, do not let Kansas City have their way with you. Do not let Kansas City have their way with you. And third, go out there and play Buffalo Bills football. We have seen when the Bills do not play Buffalo Bills football, how it can translate. But I said this in the wild card game. I said this in week 18. I said this prior to the divisional game and even afterwards. If we plunk, if the Bills plunk in this game, they're not going, in this case, they're not going to the Super Bowl. If they plunk in this game, they will not be playing a week from Sunday. Keep that in mind, Bills Mafia, as you watch this game tonight. And keep that in mind, Chiefs Kingdom, as you watch this game tonight. It's a great time now for the Bills and the Chief fans to go to the Discord server of Sports for Beginners, the Bills post-game show interactions, to start getting in there. Start on getting in there, or send an email to Sports for Beginners Podcast 8231 at gmail.com with your play of the game balls of the game, and much more. Plus your play of the game, as I said earlier. Send an email to Sports for Beginners Podcast 8231 at gmail.com, or on Discord, go to Bill's Postgame Show Interactions halfway through the game and make your submissions. Chiefs and Bills coming up in 30 minutes time, 39 minutes to the exact. So Thomas, we still have some time left here to close out this show, but if you wouldn't mind, who do you think are key players to watch out for in this game? And that should take us up to the end of the program here. So who do you think are some key players to watch from both sides of the ball?
Well, let's start with the most common players to watch. Okay, the Goliath versus Goliath matchup. It's Mahomes, it's Allen. Okay, Allen and Mahomes have been in this situation what looks like season after season after season. But your guy at Locked On Bills, Joe Marino, made one thing importantly clear about this entire game. And it was on the week that you beat the Bills and ended the Chiefs, I should say. You beat the Chiefs and ended the Chiefs' 15-game winning streak, which came to a dead halt at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills haven't beat the Chiefs in seasons prior of the postseason, but they have beaten the Chiefs. It just seems like this season and seasons like this season have been Chiefs win, Bills win, Chiefs win, Bills win, Chiefs win, Bills win. It repeats. Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Chiefs beat the Bills in the postseason and send the Bills crying home. But this time it feels different. Sean mentioned it with Steve Tasker. The Chiefs are entering uncharted territory, an area that has been met by so many teams in the NFL. Yet the teams that have been going on three-peats, the New England Patriots are one of them. Sorry, Tom Brady, if I bring that up, but they have been one of them. And every three-peat team has never, ever come close to being Super Bowl champion 1, 2, 3 times in a row. The Chiefs are at that same point. Are the Bills where they falter? Or is it NFL history time to open up the history book and tell the story of a team in NFL history that said, no one can three-peat? Watch us. We will three-peat. It'll be a season that people will look at and say, wow, how lucky were we to witness a team like the Kansas City Chiefs become the first team in NFL franchise history and NFL history to crease the Lombardi Trophy 3 straight seasons. The Chiefs face the Bills. The Bills face the Chiefs. The Bills want revenge in the postseason against the Chiefs. The Chiefs want Lombardi for the 3rd straight season of Super Bowl champions. Only one team will be left standing against the NFC Championship team of contention. Who will that be? They won't know until their game is over. And speaking of over, our show is creasing the 6 o'clock p.m. hour, which means we are getting close to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes going in the tunnels one last time for one of the teams and hyping them up for what will be their last encounter this season. Will it be the Bills moving on to their 5th straight Super Bowl chance and appearance? Or are the Chiefs Super Bowl bound and going to accomplish what nobody thought possible? Who's going to stand in the Chiefs or the Bills' way after these two gladiators do battle for the 7th game of the postseason meetings between the two teams? One of these teams is moving on. One of these teams is staying nighty-night until next year. But who will it be? I should say, who will be left out in the cold? And who will be saying, the cold never bothered me anyway? Kansas City or Buffalo? 2 teams, 1 title, 1 game left after this title match. And 1 title that's all important. Both teams and everybody in the NFL. Only 1 team can get it. But who will it be? We have 4 teams remaining. Soon, we'll be down to the final 2. 1 team from the NFC and 1 team from the AFC. Who will it be? One Sunday from this Sunday. We'll know before tonight is up.
And with that being said, tonight is 30 minutes away from being up. Well, at least when it comes to closing out the program for Championship Sunday. Bills postgame comes your way on Monday. Both of these programs will be coming your way on Monday. And yeah, I know, pregame show was recorded on the game day, but it comes your way on a Sunday, on a Monday. Thank you so much to Thomas for joining us here on the program. He's got to finish off that Dolphins season in review show. We thank him so much for joining us on the program. Bills Mafia, I will join you, and Chiefs Kingdom, I will join you on Bills postgame after the game. So for right now, it is looking like the Eagles are going to win that game, but there's still 7 minutes to go in the fourth. I don't know about you, Bills Mafia, but with game time roughly 29 minutes away, I'd say it's about time we close things down. Don't you? Yeah, okay. Let's close things down. Thomas, how about you take us out since we have you on the program here? How about you take us out to kickoff? Normally we give that to Josh, but given that we're on together doing the pregame show, why don't you take us to kickoff? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of us want to see how this NFC game wraps down, how it goes down, wrapping up. Why don't you take us to Championship Sunday's main event and take us out?
All right, everybody on the NFC side, get ready for the dinner, entree, whatever you want to call it. It is Game 7 between Goliath versus Goliath. He's Josh Allen. He is Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills are part of Bills Mafia. The Chiefs are part of Kingdom Chiefs. One team's coming to face the Eagles. One team's coming to face the Eagles or the Commanders. Who will it be? Will it be the Bills making their 5th straight appearance in the Super Bowl this year after years of waiting? Or will it be the Kansas City Chiefs in uncharted territory where nobody has gone before, coming against the Commanders or the Eagles? Right now, it looks like the Eagles. NFC Championship game on the line. AFC Championship game on the line as well. That game is next. I am Thomas McGregor. He is Scott McGregor. This has been a presentation of Sports for Beginners before they kick off show. have yourselves a fantastic championship Sunday evening. And remember that by the end of the night, whatever happens, it's just a game at the end of the day. Our closing message is coming up to take us out. We'll send it off to Josh Allen, but I'll count him down to the tunnel. And actually, I'll do my own chant to get us into the closing message. So, Allen says his chant is always win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win. Well, here's my chant, Bills Mafia. AFC Championships on 3. 1, 2, 3. AFC Championship! And Kingdom Chiefs, here's my little KFC championship chant for your quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kingdom Chiefs for Patrick Mahomes. Super Bowl 3, Super Bowl 3, Super Bowl 3. Do what you can, do what you can, do what you can to get the win. Pull out the win. All right, Chiefs on 3. 1, 2, 3, Chiefs! Chiefs, Bills. He's Scott. I'm Thomas. Before they kick off, says have a great week and enjoy Championship Sunday. Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.